I am a captain of an ocean-going ship. Since childhood, I have been thin as a rail. Traditional Chinese medicine says my spleen and stomach are not in harmony, unable to absorb nutrients, resulting in poor physical condition. After starting work on the ship, due to severe seasickness and vomiting, I went without food for several days, and my health deteriorated rapidly. Later, someone who practiced a miraculous Qigong technique told me about a Buddhist Qigong practice that was being passed down. In 1994, I found Falun Gong, and my worldview and outlook on life changed in an instant. My body also underwent corresponding changes. My appetite increased quickly, my body became stronger, and my gastric ulcer healed. In the 30 years of my practice, I have experienced many miracles. I'll share just one or two with everyone. Around 2012, on the first day of the Chinese New Year, the ship I was on was loading cargo in Japan. At around 7 o'clock in the evening, while sailing on the Tokyo Bay-Yokohama route, we encountered a dangerous situation with a container ship that was traveling several times faster than ours. This ship, several times larger than ours, suddenly charged toward our ship's left side. At that time, I was the only one on duty in the cockpit. I instinctively exclaimed, "Oh no," and turned the wheel hard to the right. The bow of that ship suddenly rushed to a spot just a few meters from ours. Since our ship was making a circular motion, its bow followed the left side of our ship's hull backward, pressing toward the vicinity of my cockpit. It was so big that I had to tilt my head back to see its bow. Compared to our ship, it was like a small fish encountering a great white shark. I thought it was all over. In that situation, if I turned right again, our stern would be facing its bow, and its speed was so fast that our ship couldn't outrun it. So, I turned the wheel to center position, closed my eyes, and waited to hear the impact. After a few seconds, I didn't hear a collision. I opened my eyes and saw that it had turned left. I quickly turned the wheel to the left, following suit, and the two ships formed a parallel sailing state, with a distance of less than 5 meters between them. Our ship was out of danger. All the crew members were terrified. The second mate said, "That ship that just passed by is one of the world's largest container ships, over 300 meters long, while our ship is only 70 meters long." The next day, at around 3 o'clock, I was awakened by a clear dream. When the two ships were sailing parallel, a giant arm was sandwiched between them, separating the two ships. Later, a Yangtze River pilot said after hearing the story, "It's inconceivable that you escaped a disaster. At such a close distance, the big ship would have sucked the small ship in, and collision would have been unavoidable." I understood in my heart that because I practiced Falun Dafa, Master was watching over me in another dimension and used his arm to separate the two ships. Another time, our ship was unloading cargo at Changqing Island, and my wife came to see me on the ship. As there were no guards at the pier, she accidentally fell into the water. At that time, there was a 5-meter gap between the deck and the water surface. She couldn't swim, so I jumped directly from the deck. When I surfaced, she hadn't come up yet. I was about to dive down to find her when she suddenly popped up in front of me. I quickly grabbed her. With the help of border guards and crew members, we safely returned to the ship. Later, I asked my wife what happened. She said, as soon as she fell into the water, she thought, "How did I fall into the water? Master, save me." Suddenly, a force lifted her upward, and she floated to the surface. Later, I heard that there are underwater currents at that pier, and 2 people had drowned there before. Another time, around June 2011, my ship was unloading cargo at the pier. At around 3 in the morning, I went up to the deck to inspect. I found that the tidal range was large in that area, and the mooring ropes were under great strain, so I went with the duty officer to adjust the ropes. When adjusting the bow, dock workers shouted, the duty officer fell into the water. I looked back and saw someone struggling in the water at the stern. I quickly ran to the stern, took off my clothes, and was about to jump down. A crew member held me back and said, "Captain, it's dangerous." Another crew member handed me a large rope, and I tied it around my waist before jumping down. By that time, the worker had sunk underwater. I felt around 2 meters underwater and pulled him to the surface. After being rescued by the hospital, he was out of danger. The ship's agent told me that there was a ship before where a worker fell into the water and died. The ship stayed anchored outside for several months until the company went bankrupt. It's really true that saving people is saving oneself. Practitioners understand this principle even better. In times of danger, as a cultivator, with Master's blessing and protection, I often turn danger into safety and experience miraculous escapes. To my friends who don't practice, if you find yourself in a desperate situation, you might as well try reciting the 9 words, Falun Dafa is good. Truthfulness, compassion, forbearance is good. Many people have witnessed miracles happen.